don't worry about it. And it will be very short. So consider the following subset of n cross n matrices with real entries. Okay, so we consider the following subset. I'll define the subset with real entries. So this I write as big O and small n, On. Okay, so it's a subset of n cross n matrices with real entries defined as all those matrices A in GLN for which A inverse equal to A transpose. Okay, so these things you already know, but let me just revise it. Some of the things we will be needing in our next discussion. So you know that GLN R, this is defined as the group of n cross n invertible matrices of real numbers. Okay. So this set that I have defined here, that all these n cross n matrices with real entries such that A inverse is A transpose, this set is called the orthogonal group of n cross n matrices. This set is known as orthogonal group of n cross n matrices, and that we denote as OM. Okay.
So that is ON equal to, I guess.
Yeah, that is OM, which is defined as this. Okay. Yeah. So this is known as the orthogonal group. So orthogonal group we denote as OM. So this is the n cross n matrices such that invertible matrices with real entries such that A inverse is A transpose. So this set ON is a group under matrix multiplication. This ON is a group under matrix multiplication. Okay. So we have to first show that it possesses an identity element. So for ON, what is the identity element? So as Debraj said, that identity element is the identity operator. Okay. Identity matrix, n cross n identity matrix, which satisfy, of course, all these conditions. So that possesses an identity element, and we also know that every element of ON possesses an inverse also. So every element of ON possesses an inverse. Why is that? That is because that A transpose equal to A inverse. Because of this condition. And we also know that matrix multiplication is by nature associative. The associative property also holds. Holds because matrix multiplication is by nature associative. Now we have to show that ON is closed. Okay. Under matrix multiplication, of course. So let me erase this. So we look at the closure. So we take two arbitrary elements in ON. Okay, and we denote these as A and B. These are the two arbitrary elements that we take in ON. So what we have to show? We have to show that if you take this AB, then AB transpose is equal to identity, right? That is what we have to show, identity operator. So we know that this is equal to A, B transpose, A transpose, that is equal to A transpose, that is equal to E, that is equal to identity operator. So that means AB transpose equal to AB inverse, which says that AB is also in ON. So if A and B is in ON, then AB is also in ON. So the closure is also satisfied. So we see that this set of orthogonal, this set of matrices with these properties, that A transpose is A inverse, n cross n matrices, invertible matrices, A forms a group under matrix multiplication. So this is called the orthogonal group. So yes, now we also see that since A transpose A is identity, we know that the এরকম আমি ক্লাস নিচ্ছি, কিছু আর্জেন্ট বলবে? আচ্ছা আমি পরে ফোন করছি। So since this is this, then we know that if you consider columns of A as vectors, then they are orthonormal vectors, right? So because of this condition. So this is the orthonormal T. So there is a lemma related to this orthonormal vector, and that you all know, but let me just reiterate. And orthonormal group, sorry. So lemma is that let A be an element of ON, A be an element of ON. Okay. So the lemma says that if A be an element of ON, the transformation associated with A preserves the dot product. Okay. So if you consider the vectors in Rn as column vectors, so suppose there is a vector in Rn which is called u, and there is another element, another vector in Rn which is v. Let the vectors in Rn be column vectors. So the way we define the dot product is that suppose you have two vectors u and v, dot product is that u dot v is defined as u transpose v. Okay, so we are considering Rn as our vector space, and we take the vectors in Rn to be considered to be the column vector, then dot product is defined like this, right? Now,
Sir,
yes,
I guess by all this we want to show that the all representations forms orthonormal groups for finite dimensional groups.
yeah, well, let us see. I mean, we'll of course definitely discuss the representation. It will come very soon. Okay,
Means for finite dimensional, the all representations are unitary. So, and if they are unitary, they forms they lies in this orthonormal group, and that we say they form orthonormal group, I guess.
We'll see. We'll come to that very soon. Okay, but for the time being, what we want to show, we show that suppose there are two vectors in Rn, then the transformation associated with this an element of Rn preserves the dot product, and then we'll come to what you are trying to say. Will come soon. Okay, so let us look at the two vectors, transform under this A, which is an element of On. So what is this? So U goes to AU and V goes to AV, right? And we want to see the dot product is preserved under this transformation. Okay. So that means what? AU dot AV is what? Is AU transpose AV, right? So that is equal to U transpose A transpose AV, and you know A transpose is A inverse, so you get it, you get U transpose V. So we see that the dot product is preserved. It's very simple, of course, and all of you know that. So we know that elements of On preserves dot product, right? So this we have seen. Elements of On preserves dot product. Not only that, in general, you know that determinant of A is equal to determinant of A transpose, and we also know that determinant of A and B is determinant of A times determinant of B. These are generally true. So for an A in On, so determinant A times determinant A, which is determinant A whole square. So this is generally true, right? These two relation. Now for an element A in On, we know that determinant A square is determinant of A times determinant of A transpose, right? So that is equal to determinant of A transpose, and that is equal to number 1, right? So for an element A in On, we see the determinant A whole square equal to 1, which tells us that the determinant A is plus minus 1. So we see that the elements of On can have determinants either plus 1 or they have they can have determinant -1. So that's a very important property of the elements of ON. So all orthogonal matrices have determinant ±1. Now remember that the all elements of ON with determinant +1, okay, they actually form the set of all proper rotation in Rn. So the all elements of ON with determinant +1 is a subgroup of ON and it is called the special orthogonal group. Okay, special orthogonal group. So we saw that orthogonal elements of orthogonal group has determinant either +1 or -1, and all those elements with determinant equal to +1, that is also a subgroup of ON, and it is called the special orthogonal group. Okay. And this is denoted as SON. Special orthogonal group is denoted as SON. So you know ON, what is ON? We also know what is SON. So what we have to show, so SON is the set of all proper rotation in Rn. So we will see an example of that a little later. So this is called SON, that elements of ON with determinant 1. So what you have to show that the subset SON which is defined as all those matrices A in ON such that what I said, determinant A equal to +1. So this is the subset ON, is a subgroup of ON. Is a subgroup of ON. Okay. Now who will prove this? You have to prove that the subset SON that I have defined, all these elements of ON, such the determinant A equal to +1 is a subgroup of ON, and you have to prove this.
So it is clearly closed, because if I take any matrix,
No. Just tell me, first tell me whether the identity is there or not.
Identity. Identity, yes, sir. Determinant of identity is 1. So
Okay.
it is.
So identity is in SON, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So the identity is in SON. What about inverse?
Yes, sir. Because since A belongs to ON, A transpose is equal to A inverse, and determinant of A transpose is 1. So determinant of A inverse is 1. So therefore A inverse lies in SON.
So you mean to say that determinant A is determinant A transpose and A is in ON? That means every element in ON inherits its inverse from every element in SON inherits its inverse from SON, right? Because determinant A is determinant A transpose and A transpose is A inverse because A is in ON. What about closure?
Yes, sir. Means since determinant, let's say A and B belongs to SON,
So A and B,
determinant of AB will be equal to determinant of A into determinant of B. Therefore, determinant of AB is equal to 1.
determinant of AB equal to determinant of A into determinant of B, and that is equal to 1. So that means AB is also in SON. So that means we have proved that SON is a subgroup of ON, and we have proved all the properties. Very good. Now the SON, so let us consider n equal to 2. Okay. N equal to 2. So that gives us SO2. Okay, SO2, which is actually the group of rotations in a plane. Okay. And we want to find out a representation of this group. We want to find out a representation of SOC. So we want to find out the representation of a general element of SO2. So that's what we will see. You see, let us just consider R2 then. Let us consider R2. Okay. And let us consider an orthonormal basis in R2. I write it as 1, 0, the usual basis vectors, and 0, 1. Okay. Now, so we have taken an orthonormal basis in R2, and let us consider a rotation of these basis vectors by an arbitrary angle theta. Consider the rotation by an arbitrary angle theta. So which I defined by r theta. So when I say rotation, then I mean that rotation in the anti-clockwise direction. Okay. So if we denote this rotation by an angle theta by r theta, then r theta acting on 1, 0 will give you what?
Cos theta sin theta.
Right. So r theta acting on 0, 1 will give you what?
Minus sin theta cos theta.
Right. So if you have to find out the matrix representation of r theta, what will be that?
Cos theta, then below sin theta, minus sin theta cos theta.
right? With respect to, of course, this basis. Whenever I talk about a matrix, we have to mention the basis. With respect to this basis, we see this is the matrix representation of R theta, right? Now, what is the determinant of this? Determinant is that this is 1, right? And we also see that R theta transpose equal to R theta inverse. Just verify. You have already done it many times, several times. You know that R theta transpose gives you the identity matrix. So that means R theta transpose is R theta inverse. So that means what? So ordinary rotations in the plane.
I have a little notation problem.
Yes.
1, 0 is a column vector. First element is 1 and then 0.
First element is 1 and then 0. So in
That-
R2, if you think as XY plane, if you think about it, then it is 1 along X and 0 along Y. So if you take a
That is
uh,
that is X
and
1, 0.
1 comma 0. That is 1 comma.
Fine. Means I was little. I have a little doubt regarding that minus sign. Cos theta minus sign sin theta cos theta. Means generally
that is the general element of this rotation. When you talk about rotation in the anti-clockwise direction, that is the convention. But if you want to see some other sign, just take theta goes to minus theta. Okay. Then whatever you are expecting, that you will get.
Okay.
Anyways, so we see that these two properties are satisfied. The determinant of this is 1 and R theta transpose equal to R theta inverse. So the rotations in the plane are indeed in SO2, right? Rotations in the plane are in SO2.
Sir, but R theta 1, 0 is equal to cos theta sin theta, the statement you have written, it suggests that there should be positive sign in the R theta R theta matrix. First cos theta, then plus sin theta, then minus sin theta cos theta. Is according to the way you have written in the first 2 lines.
No. I said, you remember that when you write down the matrix, you have to take the transpose. You have to take the transpose. Right. Okay. In the very first class, probably we discussed.
Got it.
Okay, you have to take the transpose. Yeah. Matrix representation if you want to find out. Anyway, so so rotations in the plane are indeed in SO2 that we have seen. Now you see that so the elements of SO2, as I said, it's what is this element? What is an element of SO2? It's a 2 cross 2 matrix, of course, invertible 2 cross 2 matrix, as the determinant is +1 and A transpose is A inverse. Both these things are satisfied. So this is a general element of SO2 you can write down, or you can think of it also, because the group itself is a matrix group. You can also think of this as the representation of the group. Okay, because these are the operators which act on the vectors. So these are the examples of groups where the group elements form one particular representation of the group. There can be other representations, of course, but this is a representation which has the same dimension as the dimension of the matrices in the group. Okay, so this is called the fundamental representations actually. Okay. So this is the representation of the group. Now let us take 2 elements in SO2, which we denote by cos theta minus sin theta cos theta, and cos phi, some other phi. Okay. Before that, let me just also mention that you see this is an example of a group where the group elements are determined in terms of a parameter theta. Which is a continuously varying parameter. Okay, So each value of theta, its continuously varying parameter, will give you an element of the group, okay, which satisfy all the properties of the group. So that means it is an infinite group, obviously, and it's a continuous group, okay. So it's an example of an infinite continuous group determined by one real parameter. Theta is a real parameter, one real parameter theta. So this is one example of such group, and we will learn more on these kind of groups later, which belong to the class of groups called Lie groups. Okay, so this is one example here. Now we have seen that the elements of SO2 are of the form cos theta minus sin theta cos theta. So let us take two elements A and B. A as cos theta minus sin theta, then sin theta cos theta, and take B as cos phi minus sin phi and sin phi. So these two give you two different elements of SO2. Okay. Now what we have to show, verify, is that you just calculate what is AB, product of these two elements. Okay, so this is one element, this is another element. You calculate the product of AB and tell me whether this is equal to the product of BA or not. So you have to do this matrix multiplication and tell me whether AB is equal to BA or not.
Yes, sir.
Yes. So you see that AB is equal to BA. So we have taken two arbitrary elements of SO2. And we have seen that if you take the product AB, which is equal to BA, which tells us that SO2 is an abelian group. Okay. Now, of course, from n equal to 2, we can go to n equal to 3. So that will give you SO3. And that will be, of course, rotation in the three-dimensional space. And similarly, SO4 and so on, SON you can do. So these are all orthogonal matrices, n cross n orthogonal matrices with determinant equal to +1. But we have seen that SO2 is abelian. Now, before that, let me just ask you one thing. So suppose I tell you that there is the orthogonal matrix n cross n orthogonal matrix. N cross n orthogonal matrix. Okay. Now, can you tell me that, so as we have seen in the case of SO2, we can parameterize the elements of SO2 in terms of one real parameter, that is theta. So in case of ON, okay, can you tell me what will be the number of independent parameters that you need to specify an element of ON? Independent real parameter, because orthogonal group is for real entries. So how many independent real parameters you need to specify an element of ON? How do you find that?
I guess sir n minus 1 independent parameters.
Why?
Sir, because I just observe it from the means here. For SO2 it's 1 because it's theta or theta.
Sir,
For
it should be n
SO3
choose 2.
dimension.
Nah, sir, it should be n choose 2, I guess. Sir, because from any n dimensional space, I can choose any two planes in two ways, sir, and for that I can get the number of ways of doing that is n choose 2. Sir, it should be n into n minus 1 by 2.
N into n minus 1 by 2.
Equals to 2 also, sir, it's giving me
Okay,
1.
so let us do it actually. So what you have to find out first, that suppose you have an n cross n matrix, how many elements are there? Real matrix, okay? N cross n real matrix, how many elements are there in that matrix? How many real elements in an n cross n matrix?
So it's n squared.
So n cross n matrix, you have n square number of real matrix. If the matrix entries are real, you have n square number of. Now, for an orthogonal matrix, what are the constraints that you have?
A transpose A equals identity.
A transpose A equals to identity. So how many constant equation that it will give? You have to remove that.
One.
No. A transpose A is an n cross n matrix.
Acha, n.
No. No. Let us do it. Let us take an example of a 2 by 2 matrix. Okay. So A is, let us take a 3 by 3. A 1 1 1 2 1 3 2 1 2 2 2 3 3 1 3 2 3 3. Okay. Now A transpose, if you calculate, what you will get? You will get A 1 1 2 1 3 1 1 2 2 2 3 2 1 3 2 3 3 3, right? That is equal to identity 3 by 3. So that is equal to 1 0 0 0 1 0 0 0 1. Now from this, how many constant equations you get involving these elements of this matrix A, which are real, of course?
6.
How many constant equation you will get?
6.
You will get 6 constant equations, right? So if it is an n cross n matrix, how many constant equation you will get?
n into n plus 1 by 2.
You will get n into n plus 1 by 2, right? That is because diagonals will give you 3 conditions, but then these zeros, so the condition that you will, because they are real, so you will get half of these actually, not all these 6 here, for example, you will get half of this. So there is this deflection symmetry here along the diagonal will get. So that will give you n into n plus 1 by 2. So what is this number here then?
N into n minus 1 by 2.
Sir, but I can also argue like this, sir, in n-dimensional space, I can choose any two planes in two ways, sir, and it's simply n choose 2, and n choose 2 gives me n into n minus 1 by 2, right? So that argument.
Yeah, probably you can do it this way, but this is the most straightforward way when you have this orthogonal matrix n cross n. and you don't have to think about any space or anything. You just calculate the number of elements and the number of constants from the definition of the orthogonal matrix, and that you will get it. Okay. Anyways, so your answer was right. So this is n into n minus 1 by 2. Now you verify that now, okay. So these are the elements of ON, of course, and out of this, so any element of ON can be parameterized in terms of 3 real parameters. N into n minus 1 by 2 real parameters. So O3, it will be determined by 3 real parameters. Okay. And then, of course, naturally, SO3 will also be determined by 3 real parameters. So that means in the case of SO2, you see from here, when n equal to 2, we get 1 real parameter, and that is this parameter theta or phi, whatever. Okay, so 1 real parameter determines all the elements of SO2, but for SO3, you need 3 real parameters. Okay.
Sir, in the 3 dimensions, we have theta and phi, na? Means where is the third one?
3-dimensional rotation you have studied in classical mechanics, okay?
Yes, sir.
Top motion of
Euler
top.
angles. Euler
I
angles.
see.
How many angles are there? Euler angles?
Three.
You have to be careful while making a statement like this. So 3D rotation, we know that there are 3 parameters, which 3 rotation in this case, which determines this. So that means you see that if you want to look at the elements of SO3, then you have, I mean, it's very complicated. Okay. In the complicated in the sense that you have 3 parameters which determines the elements of SO3, of course. Okay. So it becomes very, very complicated if you want to look at the multiplication of the group elements and whether they are commutative or not, of course. Okay. But we'll just take one simple example where we'll just, so you know that, so essentially what? 3 parameters meaning 3 angle of rotation, right? In the context of a 3-dimensional space, 3 rotations. So it could be the angle independently angle rotation about x axis or y axis or z axis, if you think in terms of this x, y, z axis. Okay. So independent rotation. But of course, rotation along one of the direction also is an element of SO3, right? When you do not rotate along the other directions. Okay, so that means theta 1, theta 2, theta 3, keep theta 2 and theta 3 equals to 0, and theta 1 you take some theta 1. Okay, so that is also an element of SO3. That's the most simple one. So let us just take that for simplicity. So let us take an element of SO3. Let us take an element of SO3, which is this. So this is also familiar to you. So this is, let us take this element cos theta minus sin theta 0, sin theta cos theta 0 and 0, 0, 1. Okay, so this you know is a rotation in the 3-dimensional space R3 about which axis?
Z axis.
This is about Z axis, right? Yes. And now let us take another element B, and let us take this element as okay. So 2 elements here. This is the angle rotation about the x axis. Okay. And we use the same parameter theta. So and by angle theta, we rotate about the z axis and rotate about the x axis, but they give you 2 different elements in SO3. Okay. Right. Now, what you have to verify quickly, if you can verify that whether AB equal to BA or not. So these are two different elements of SO3 that I have taken. The most simple ones that you can think of.
No, sir.
No, right? Yes. So that means AB is not equal to BA. So SO3 is in general non-abelian. So SO3 is non-abelian. To think of any subgroup of SO3 which will be abelian, that is commutative.
If we take rotation about a fixed axis,
Yes. So that means you mean to say that if you take this, for example, and take various values of the parameters theta, is that what you mean?
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes. So this is a commutative subgroup, or this one also is a commutative subgroup of SO3. Okay. So in general, actually, for n greater than 3, we can embed SO3 in SON for n greater than 3. So in general, SO2 is the only special orthogonal group which is abelian. All the other special orthogonal groups are non-abelian actually. Okay, so these are the things. So first of all, what we learned here, we learned about O3 and SO3, and we learned that the elements of O3 and SO3 can be parameterized in terms of real elements. ON and SON can be parameterized in terms of real element. We gave examples of SO2 and SO3. SO2, we saw that it's only one parameter, real parameter, which generate all the element of SO3, whereas in the case SO2, whereas in the case of SO3, we need, in general, we need 3 real parameters to parameterize all the elements of SO3. So in the next class, meaning after your mid-sem, we will discuss about group where the elements of the group depends on n number of capital N, say for example, n number of real parameters. Okay, and we'll see study the properties of such groups and the representations, and these are very important, interesting groups which are called Lie groups. Okay, so I'll repeat it, but let me just tell you that Lie group is actually a very complicated subject, and for Lie groups you actually need to understand many things about topological spaces and analytical manifolds and things like that, which I don't know much. So I'll not get into those complicated concepts. Here I'll try to give you a simple-minded picture of Lie group and some kind of a working knowledge. We'll get all the essential features of the Lie groups. And as I said in the beginning, for physicists, we want to see more of representations, not the abstract groups. So we'll try to find out all the representations of these groups and their properties, etc. And we'll see applications, direct applications of these things in physics. Okay, for example, in quantum mechanics and other branches of physics. So we'll study all those groups where the elements of the groups depend on a number of real parameters continuously. So these are infinite groups and continuous groups. So from our discussion of discrete and finite groups, we will now switch over to the discussion of continuous and infinite groups called the Lie groups. So I'll stop here today a little early, but now you can have a lot of time to prepare for your mid-sem exam. All the best for your exam. And
so one more time, sir, what's the syllabus? Sure, please make it sure.
Sorry?
So what is the syllabus?
Syllabus. Starting from the concept of group, And also a little bit of this thing, no, we discussed this linear algebra in the beginning, you remember?
Yes, yes,
Yes, so those are also there in the syllabus, included in the syllabus.
Till
So-
sir, what orthonormality condition or
Till the character table and direct product representation. Okay.
direct product representation? Fine. Sir.
Okay. No
No
discussion on-
permutation.
no permutation group and
Young modulo,
Young diagram, etc. Okay. And no discussion on orthogonal group. You want me to include this one? This is very simple actually. So, or no, leave it. Yeah. Sorry, someone was saying something.
So if you
Let's
don't
wait for
mind,
the final.
Sorry.
can I say?
Yes, please go ahead.
So if you don't mind, can we have your contact number?
Yes, of course, you have to have, because I'll also give it to the academic office. They ask for it, because during the exam, if you have any queries or confusion, you have to call me, or you have to send me some WhatsApp messages. So if I tell you, can you just write